Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Welcome to being here. I'm Ariel.
I'm Shya.
And I have a little bit of espresso left in my cup. And
I'm coveting it.
Shya just asked if he could have some. And this is my opportunity to go about the circumstances as if they're my idea. Then I'm in charge.
You mean?
Here you go, honey.
Thank you.
And Kate, did we say I'm Ariel?
Mhm.
You're Shya, and I know I was just distracted by the coffee.
Coffee, you know.
And we do finish each other's sentences, so let's have some fun.
From time to time.
We do.
From
time to time. And if you listen as though our dovetailing style is your idea, then you're in charge. You own your life.
That's right. But if you find what our dovetailing style annoying,
then you're probably listening to the wrong
right.
podcast.
Right.
But also, you're probably upset. You know, have you ever noticed that when you're pre-annoyed, somebody crosses your path and everything is annoying, and then suddenly he interrupted me rather than we're just simul-speaking. So today, let's just relax, listen to each other. I know that Shya and I are listening to each other. We have guests on. We'll be listening to them. Life is easy, or it can be easy.
When you operate as though what's happening is your idea rather than you're the victim of the circumstance.
For example, we're recording this prior to release on a really pretty hot day. It's over 90 outside. It's 92, 93 degrees. And it's warm in our office. Our office is in a loft, and sometimes it's not cooled quite as much as the rest of our home. And if I operate as though the temperature in this room is my idea, I'm pleasant.
Your ideal temperature. Perfect, yes.
Yeah. Then things are pleasant. If I think it should be another way, then anything I resist becomes larger and larger and larger. And before you know it, I'm not actually here with you. I'm in my complaint about whatever I'm resisting.
Mm-hmm.
So today's an opportunity to let go of anything you might happen to be resisting and just
treat this moment like it's your idea.
And then you're the boss. I don't know about you, but I always wanted to be the boss as a kid. And now as an adult, I found a way to do it. Should we take our first guest?
Yes, let's.
Miss Darina, where are you zooming in from? Here she comes.
Hi. Hi, Ariel and Shya. I'm calling in from Hamburg, Germany.
Oh, well,
very
welcome
good.
to being here.
Thank you so much. I really love this topic about who's the boss, because I really can see myself in. Sometimes I'm really not in a balance. When I have my day off, like today, I put so many stuff inside that I'm in a hurry, and then I feel like I take a pressure on myself to really go through everything what I have on my schedule. And when things are out of control, when things are happening, like today I was in the spa doing massages, and before that I was at my mom's place and we had some lunch today, what was really nice. But also I felt like I really need to go to the spa now, and I want to be there in time and not to take pressure on myself too much, because I have to drive there and I don't know about the traffic. And I handle all the time myself with putting down my pressure, what I have inside of me. And I want to be in control of that. I mean, everything went well, absolutely. But I can see how I'm dealing with handling myself and not like that the pressure is coming over me.
Well, I have a question. I think you are making the label you just put on this day is inaccurate, because it sounds like you worked at the spa today. So if you call this your day off, and
Yes.
maybe a day off from a different job, it sets up an expectation that you should not have things in your schedule. And then, so it's a little bit like driving with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake, because you've told yourself you have a day off and yet you have all these things.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And yeah, and this is
So-
maybe, yes.
So who is the you that told you what you have to do today?
Yeah, me.
Well, who is the you that told you what you have to do today?
My machine, my better, like I want to do everything what I want to do, what I need to do. Like, yeah, it's my.
Well, you
Right.
keep on saying I, what my and I, and I'm not sure it's you. See, I'm not sure you're the one that wants to get all that done. I'm sure your mind, the story you listen to, your thoughts, want to get all that done.
And the structure that's in place from your enculturation that says what a better Dorina would do on this day downloads, and then it pressures you to accomplish those things.
Yeah, because
Go ahead.
it feels normal to me. Because of the lockdown, I had so many times just off where I wasn't doing something specific, and now I have the time. Okay, I can do my things, and I'm also like I want to.
Yes, but I have a question. During the lockdown, when you had free time, did you make a decision that when things open back up, then I'm really gonna get going?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we're not really into tips, but I'll tell you a couple of things that I've found useful for me. I know we've just done the creativity and intuition course when this airs, and upcoming we have the simplicity course. So those two come together for me, and I look and see. And for instance, I schedule now something I call an open day.
Mm-hmm.
And on that open day, I am required to do nothing. So if I want to do all of our laundry, if that appears fun, I will do it. If I want to make, complex meals, I will do it. If I want to lay on the bed and read with the cat in my lap, I will do it. And I'm not sure if you ever give yourself
a chunk of time where you're not under pressure to get things done. Because even when you're resting, I don't think you're resting. I think you're thinking about what you got to do.
So I give myself permission. I do the emails in our business and our home life, and I can have a couple hundred of them easily a day that I need to go through, answer, call through. And so on those open days, I give myself permission to not do them. And then if I have an impulse to do them, I will. But yeah. It's an opportunity. It's how I trick myself into a non-structured structure.
Mm.
The other thing I do from time to time, I recently learned how to do this for myself when sitting for Bob Finch, who's the father of one of our friends. He's a really good artist. And I promised him some time ago I would sit as his model because he lives really in the country, but it's pretty close to us.
Yeah.
And he said, you have to take a break every once in a while. And I didn't perceive myself as needing a break. He said 20 minutes on, 10 minutes off, or something of that effect. So I said, look, I will set my watch so neither of us have to think. So I set a timer.
Yeah.
So when you say, I'm sitting there having lunch with my mom and I'm worrying about getting there on time or that type of thing, you can set an alarm for 10 minutes before you have to leave or 5 minutes before you have to leave. And then you don't have to think about it at all. You can really be where you're being while you're being there, provided you want to be.
I like that because I have this tendency to make decisions about how I feel. And I maybe it's like a feeling of when the pressure is strong enough, then I'm looking through my watch and then I have to see, okay, it's time now. I have to leave. And maybe it's better what you suggest also to use the timer and then to relax inside.
If you want to relax, that's what I mean.
But you see, the problem is if you relax, things may come up that you don't want to look at that need handling.
Or you may be more comfortable living in a state of semi-drama emergency.
Right.
And that if that goes away, you might have to feel missing your boyfriend who lives in a different country, or you might have to feel a moment of not knowing what's next, the unknown, or...
The unknown, yes. That's great. Yeah.
See how quickly she bypassed the other half, missing her boyfriend who's in a different country?
Yes.
She's like, I'll take column B, not column A. I don't.
Yeah, it's like, like it's different. It's I think we are good in our what we can do not to see each other. And also that we are planning to come together in summer. So maybe we'll have a little holiday together. And and so that's great. Yeah.
I just want to say one more thing about this timer approach that I noticed, because, Bob was teaching me about what it takes to be a person who sits. Because as a model, you have a pose and it might just be sitting in a chair, but you do, for me, I'm doing my best to be very still and maintain the same facial set. And he likes my hands a certain way without moving. And so when the timer goes off, I don't perceive myself as needing a break. And he has encouraged me to take a break anyway. And it's been really fun to go outside, step outside of the studio, answer emails, make a couple phone calls, walk around the property, and come back in where I can handle things before it's an emergency situation. I think you wait to leave for your job at the spa until there's the potential for emergency. One missed stoplight.
The potential to be late.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I see that. And yes. Yeah, it's an old story.
Well, many of us get used to living under tension, and without that, we don't know who we are.
Yeah. And then I have, and also that's like a disbalance, like I'm rushing then, and then suddenly I have time. And then I'm getting so slow that I miss maybe the opportunity to be there, really what's in front of me.
I don't understand that. You're getting so slow.
Yeah, sometimes I think I miss things because I'm getting so slow, because I think, I have a lot of time. And I miss the opportunity to be in time, like, for example, learning, to learn, for example, from a new company I'm working for. So there's a lot of new products, a whole strategy, a whole philosophy to learn this stuff. And I think, I can do that maybe just tomorrow morning, an hour, which should be enough. But in my mind, I feel like you should be earlier in doing that. You should do it just maybe a little bit like not waiting to do then maybe next morning, to do it better now. I don't know. Who's the boss? I mean,
Sounds like you talk to yourself a whole lot, Dorina.
yes.
I don't know about you, but our lives are fluid. I have an idea of how soon I should do things. Sometimes things don't come together in that time frame, but one thing I do know is I always get them done in time.
Mm. Yeah, and this is great. And yeah, and I feel it like when I'm around you. Also yesterday at the Tuesday night live seminar, I was feeling so good afterwards. It's like also during this time to listen, it feels so much relaxing, and I don't feel just like pressure or something happening. It's just I feel good.
Well, it's probably because you stopped listening to you and you started listening to us.
Yeah. Yes, that's for sure.
You listen to the voice in your head, and that's all there is. You listen to somebody else and actually listen to them. You're no longer listening to the voice in your head.
I don't know if you're available. I don't know if you work weekends or, for the Simplicity course we're doing in September on the 25th and 26th. But as we're talking, Dorina, and you're verbalizing how you go about your life, it seems pretty complex. And one of the things that we are demonstrating in general, but we'll be doing a deep dive into over the weekend, is how simple life can be when you look and see and you're here, rather than talking to yourself
or thinking about
how to do your life right.
That's right.
You started out talking about how you're unbalanced, and you have a picture of when I'm balanced, but this is Dorina's version of balance. If you treat it as if you're doing everything you're doing and you're not doing those things you're not doing purposefully, that this is Dorina's version of perfection, and you notice how it's put together, and you don't judge yourself for what you see, you have other options available.
Yeah. Great. Yes. Yeah. I see that. That's a gift. Yeah. Great.
Thank you for being with us today. It has been a gift for us to be with you, and a gift that you gave to the listeners by sharing of yourself. So thank you.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Now it's your turn. Let's hear what one of you listeners has to say about being here in the transformation community.
This is Katie in Chicago. And what I love about transformation is that my life can be awesome in an instant. I don't have to think. I can just jump into life and experience it full. And it's amazing what you see when you're not in your head.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shya's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
If you'd like to join us for any of our Living Made Easy seminars, the next ones we have are this upcoming Saturday and also Monday evening. And it won't be long. Early in September, we have the Tuesday evening for those of you who are in the European time zone. The weekend seminar, as we already mentioned.
Simplicity, that's September 25th and 26th.
And we're happy to announce Costa Rica 2022 is now open. So if you want to join us and amazing people like Dorina on an adventure in Costa Rica in the most gorgeous rainforest, you are welcome. You can go up to our website, transformationmadeeasy.com, and you can find out about any and all of the courses we have to offer.
Mhm.
Shall we take our next guest?
Yes, let's take our next guest.
Okay. Thomas, welcome to being here. Where are you zooming in from?
Hello, Ariel and Shya. I'm Thomas from Allschwil in Switzerland.
Allschwil.
Allschwil, yes,
Yes.
right. It's difficult to pronounce.
Yes, but you do very good. I'm so envious. You speak Swiss and English. Do you speak German also?
Yes, of course, because German is a national language in Switzerland, the official language. One of the 4 languages we have here, yes.
What are the 4? You have French,
German, French, Italian, and the 4th, I don't know how it's called in English. I think it's Romansh or something like that.
Or something? Cool.
Yeah.
So is Swiss actually Swiss German?
Yeah, it's Swiss German, yeah.
See,
I think it's said to be a dialect of German, but I'm not sure if it's an only language.
Nice. Well, welcome to being here, and thanks for educating us.
and thanks for being so talented as a linguist.
Yeah, really. I'm so impressed. So, who's the boss of your life? That's what I want to know, Thomas.
That's a difficult question. I would like to know that by myself. So
I'll tell you the answer then. All you have to do is look moment to moment.
yeah.
It's a moment to moment thing. I mean, wouldn't we all love to have an answer that we could put on, and it takes care of it over time, but really it's all about being here.
It's especially a question for me, how to be boss of my life when there are times when old incidents from the past come back and still affect me today. So that's...
Can I just say, good.
But see, here's the thing, Thomas. Anything you resist persists.
Yeah.
Anything you don't want persists. And so what you just said were incidents from the past that you don't want. Well, those are the things that will stick around because you don't want them. You're not just noticing them. You have a preference, and your preference is that those things are gone forever.
Now,
that the first principle of instantaneous transformation says that anything you resist or don't want
or try to get rid of,
you get stuck with.
Mm.
The third principle is anything you see without judging completes itself.
And that includes not judging your judgment. So you have a flash of anger, or you feel humiliated, or you suddenly remember something and you find it upsetting, and then you judge yourself for having that. It's like, don't judge yourself for the reflexive blossoming of something old, your reactive reaction to that. If you can just see all of it as a phenomena, it's like holding something that has been frozen in time in the sun. It melts. And it can melt in an instant. And why I said good is I kept getting an image. You know, there are things from our past that we might not have liked, or something that we were embarrassed by, or I had one the other day. It was a really weird one, an image of something I did from the past when Shya and I were in Oregon and we were fly fishing, and we stopped for lunch, and I was eating the salad with my fingers. And I knew that it somehow I registered that it really bothered the host, and I kept doing it anyway. And I know it's a silly example, but it flashed up into my head like somewhere afterwards. I must have said to myself, oh, that was a really bad thing. I shouldn't have done that. But I did. And so I just saw it. And I think of it a little bit like things that we don't approve of in ourselves, or things that happen. it's almost like we've shoved them into a junk drawer. So if one of those from the past pop up, it's like you've opened your junk drawer and it's the opportunity to go, oh.
Well, the other thing is this. I'm of the opinion that each of us create our lives as our life is showing up. And so there may have been things that happened in our past that we don't want to see our part in contributing to. What we did to produce what happened, because that really is embarrassing.
Oh, yeah, we don't like that.
And so we say that it was a terrible incident and it shouldn't have happened to us. And we become the victim of the incident rather than we were participants in our lives at that time. And we may have had something to do with how it showed up. It's called responsibility. That's not blame and it's not shame or guilt. It's just that if it happened in your experience, you have responsibility for it. And I see something happening in your face as I say this, so I think I'm onto something.
Yeah, that's.
And if you think you're the victim, then you'll never get rid of it, because that wanting to be the victim of somebody else is a very strong emotion that happens in people, to blame somebody else for their experience or your experience.
Shana saw a video some time ago of a public speaker who is an inspirational coach. And this is a gentleman who was born without legs, and he had mostly no arms. I think he might have had just a little bit of an arm below the shoulder, but he didn't have arms. And he's now an inspirational speaker. And he had an image or a video of him in front of a soccer goal. And people are kicking soccer balls at him and he's missing them. And he's like, wait, I wasn't ready. And it was just so funny because he was basically poking fun at himself. And I'm absolutely certain that in his earlier life, there were people who were cruel to him. But he turned what was a challenge for him into an opportunity to talk to other people about, hey, you know, look, I'm living a great life. You can live a great life too.
And the other thing is this. A lot of our stories of the past were written by who we were at that time. Our memory is a memory of a child remembering an incident from their point of view. And I don't know if you've been around children, but I have occasionally, and I've had a few, at least two.
A couple.
Yeah, I had two. And their memory of the past isn't always accurate to what happened. It's their memory. So if you tell yourself a story about what happened to you in your childhood and hold it to be true, you may be recreating an upset that you could let go of if you let it go. But if it has value.
I mean, that's what we were talking with Dorina about. She keeps recreating, putting herself under tension. It's her go-to. And if she's always worried about what time she has to leave, when, for instance, she's sitting with her mom, she doesn't have to fully be there with her. And so maybe the tension itself serves a purpose. And sometimes things like having concerns that people may treat us the way they did when we were kids is a way to keep us from having to be here and vulnerable and to see that people really like us.
Yeah, this thing about the responsibility is quite hard to swallow for me, honestly, because in my case, it's all about the whole thing with bullying in school, and I don't agree that I have responsibility with these things. So I
Well, then you're welcome to keep victimizing yourself with the past. That's up to you. And you see, listening isn't agreeing with or disagreeing. It's hearing a point of view.
We're not saying you were to blame for the bullying.
okay.
But if you are defending your point of view, you're not listening. And listening is really quite Swiss. It's neutral. It's not for or against. And so you say no when I say you had a part in your own circumstance, you were responsible in that you were there in the event. That's what I mean by responsible.
Okay.
I didn't say you caused it.
Okay.
But see, if you're proving that life is rough and people are bullies, you'll get to be right. But if you leave that story alone, you may discover a whole other reality that exists.
How old are you today?
I turned 45 years today, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this could be a birthday of Thomas. And it doesn't matter if the listeners, it's not their actual birthday. It could be a birthday.
In that you can start your life newly in this moment. Because in each moment is the opportunity to live your life as though it's new. But if you have a story about your life that you insist upon recreating and telling yourself that makes you the victim of the circumstances, well, then you end up being right, but you have the same life over and over again, as opposed to creating a new possibility.
I love that you're here on this theme, Who's the Boss, Thomas. I know we had written a blog in the past month, and or there was a blog post, and you mentioned about being bullied. I would imagine the majority of people who come to our seminars were bullied at some point. Not because we collect people who've been bullied, but because people have that experience.
Yeah, we have been bullied in our lives. I have been bullied in my life. Ariel has been bullied in her life. But if we hold on to those experiences as though that's who we are, then there's no possibility of discovering who you could be in this moment.
And the other thing is, if you put that I was bullied as a kid in front of you like a mask, then even though people can see through that mask and see you, you don't experience it because you hold yourself as the person you were rather than looking and seeing who you are.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem, yeah.
Well, I don't see it as a problem. I just see it as a habit.
Yeah.
And
I used to smoke. And how I stopped smoking was I stopped picking up that cigarette and that lighter. And then I had to stop smoking. It's been many years now that I haven't had any cigarettes. But I had to not pick the story up.
And energize it. Yeah, I remember back earlier in our relationship, Shya often had the idea, what is she doing with me? She's going to leave me. And he kept saying, I can't believe you're with me. I really am afraid you're going to leave someday. And luckily, somebody said to him, if you say that to her often enough, she's going to have to leave you because there's nothing she can do to prove to that idea that you're okay. You're better off just setting it down.
So I did.
And here we are, 39 years old.
That's right.
Yeah. And I, of course, you have ideas that were instigated when you were young, vulnerable, and bullied. And when they come up between you and this moment, you can just set them down. because, you know, people emailed us this morning and said, I heard you're being with Thomas today. He's calling into your Being Here show. You should know it's his birthday. You are beloved.
People like you.
But they can't
like you enough to prove to that story that they like you. So it's got to be that you let it go, because if you don't, you just keep recreating it
or
over
you
and over.
include it, because we like you, we love you, we admire you, including all of the pieces that put you together so that you are the you are today.
And the thing is, without this bullying, probably I wouldn't be here today.
That's right.
That's true.
See, look, everything that's happened in your life had to have happened because it did. And it all brought you to this moment, Thomas.
Yeah.
See? So if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be having this conversation with you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And here's the thing, in the spirit of who's the boss, all of our minds disregard our talents. So for instance, you are a talented linguist. You speak multiple languages. And for you, it's just
Normal.
It's nothing. But for me, I'm like, wow.
We stumble through English.
And
that's the only language we know.
And everybody gets excited for me when I can say a German word with the right pronunciation, and I'm excited for me. But that doesn't mean I'm fluent in that language. I really admire people who have that skill set.
But you take it for granted. You take it as not a skill set of any specialness.
Yeah, right.
It's normal.
I'll tell you another thing that bossy voice in your head disregards. How old were you when you went to meet Andrea because you wanted to learn to sing, or you wanted to take singing lessons?
That's now about 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. So about 42. So yeah.
A 42-year-old man has the courage to say, I want to sing. And you didn't pick any teacher. You picked Andrea.
Yeah.
You picked Andrea, who introduced you to a wide array of amazing people and connected you up with this community, with people who really love you. There's another example of how you can be responsible for your life.
Because you chose those things. See, you are responsible.
Yeah,
but responsible isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
Irresponsible just means that your life is showing up in your experience the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, if I have to be responsible when I ride a bicycle, to look and make sure the bicycle is in good order so I can make it to where I'm going. So I'm responsible for going to the bicycle shop today and having them fix a brake cable that was frayed.
And then they showed us him, which he's going to show me what to look for so that doesn't happen again, in case mine is predisposed to fraying that way. It's all very exciting.
See, your life is exciting when it's fresh and new. But when you live your life through the story of who you used to be, then you never grow into who you are.
Yeah, did that for years, for many, many years. Yeah.
So did all of us.
See, here's the thing. You keep attaching the not growing into who you are to situations from your past as if that caused it, rather than recognizing that most people don't grow into who they are. And when they do, it's pretty amazing. But you think you didn't because that's changed. This happened and it caused me to be that way. But
transformation is an instantaneous shift where you're no longer broken by the story of your life.
Where it's just a fact. And now what?
See, Thomas, you are okay. Exactly the way you are and exactly the way you're not. You know, sometimes I compare myself to people like Elon Musk.
Okay.
Okay. Well, what's this guy? Jeff Bezos.
So,
Bezos. You know, I'm not a billionaire. I don't have the mindset to try to make all that money or be such a genius. But I'm satisfied with this life that I'm living. I don't know that they are. But when you compare yourself to other people, you always fall short in your own mind. But I find you to be a uniquely magnificent being. Tough, isn't it, to hear that?
Yeah, it is.
Because it goes against your story about you. But then I ask you, who is your worst enemy, me or you? If I find you brilliant and magnificent and you find you flawed, I think the voice you've been listening to isn't your buddy.
No, it's not. Of course, it's not.
I wrote an article recently for the Living Made Easy on Demand subscription series. And it's called, do you have something to the effect of, I don't have it right in front of me, do you have a kind mirror? And
A kind what? A kind?
A kind mirror.
Okay.
And Shya is, for me, my kind mirror. If he says, wow, you look so beautiful on a day when I'm feeling overweight, I listen to him. He's my kind mirror.
Yesterday, we were riding our new bicycles, and they're fold-up bicycles. And you have to constantly, or not constantly, but you have to, each time you use it, you have to adjust the height of the seat. And so I was looking at Ariel, and she was pedaling so hard to keep up with me. I said, I think your seat is too low. You need to raise it.
Because I didn't have the full extension of my legs, so that each rotation was harder. It was a shorter thing. And when I raised it.
But initially, she didn't want to.
Well, I had the thought, oh, I know what I'm doing, which clearly I don't. It was only our fourth bike ride, and I haven't ridden in 40 years. And I loved that he looked over and told me what he saw. So the idea, oh, I know what I'm doing, was automatic. But I'm the boss, or it's not the boss. And that went by.
And she used me as her mirror to see what was needed. And then she adjusted her seat, and suddenly she's riding easily.
So you can invest in the people who actually see you.
Yeah.
You know, and in the world we live in, and I'm not as connected to social media as a lot of people, but there's a thing called trolls, where people come in and say nasty things about people who in general are fairly successful. So there's a woman who clearly sings, she puts it up on YouTube, and people made really unkind comments. So we recently saw a show on television, America's Got Talent, where she took all of the comments people said about
all the hate comments,
and turned them into a song.
Oh.
And it was clever and funny, and she was so talented. And I thought, wow, you know, that takes a lot of chutzpah, a lot of courage to hear that and not do something like, oh yeah, you're right, I should quit.
Yeah.
I feel confident saying this for Shya and myself. We are delighted every time we see you. You have such a great big heart. And if bullying is part of what got you here, then my hat's off to those bullies, because we really like how you turned out.
Yeah, the thing is this, Thomas, be kind to yourself. You know, that internal voice that picks on you, tell it to shut up. You know, you don't have to listen to that voice.
You can just tell to
The only-
stop it or you'll bury it alive in a
time-
box.
That's right. The only time you should listen to that voice if it says there's a bus coming, don't step into the road.
Then it would be a good idea. Yeah.
That's right. Whatever language it speaks to you. And
Yeah, right.
such a treat being with you today.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and for our listeners, if you want to meet Thomas in person, I'm putting that in quotes because it's primarily virtual what we're doing. He frequently comes to the Saturdays and the Tuesdays, and it's just such a delight to see you. And come meet him. He's a cool dude.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If you want to be a guest or you want to submit a listener spotlight or you actually want to make it easy for people to get the show, first you can go up on our website. You can find out how to be a guest at transformationmadeeasy.com/being here. And share this on your favorite social media platform or podcast app because people deserve to have well-being and you have it in the palm of your hand. You ready for next week's show?
I am.
Okay, here it comes, Thomas. Ready? Next week's show is relaxing into urgency. It's gonna
I
be
like that.
I do too. We'll be back next week, everyone. So come on back.
And don't miss being here.